Story 1. Hi reader, I'm new here and I think I'm here to vent, and maybe seek a medium to talk to people who have experienced the same. Someone on Reddit told me this was a good place to talk. Side note, I'm from the Netherlands. You will likely see some errors in my grammar and use of words, now you know why. Just call me Pesto. I don't need my soon-to-be ex-partner reading my stuff, so I'll keep my name private if that's okay. I'm now 41 years old. When I was around 25, I broke with my group of friends because they started to use drugs heavily, and I didn't want to be part of that. I moved away, and not long after I met my wife at my previous job. She started as an intern, and the moment I saw her, I fell in love. And so did she. It wasn't long before we started dating and getting into a relationship. It was great. I had girlfriends before, but never had I connected so much with someone like her. We were happy. We married, bought an apartment together, had 2 kids. Life was great. What you should know is that because of my wife's job, she worked a lot of evening and night shift, and when the kids were born, these increased a lot. This way, I could take care of the kids in the evenings and weekends, and she'd be there during daytime when I was working. We had decided this together and we both could work with that. But there was this little issue of us being apart from each other a lot. She had her free time when the kids went to school, but in my free time, I always had to be home for the kids, resulting in no way to meet new people, new friends, as I still didn't have friends after moving away from the old group. In the meantime, she was making lots of colleague friends, male and female, and she had time to hang out with them when the kids were at school. Fast forward to about 1.5 years ago. We have been married for a decent amount of time. Purchased a new home. We could grow old in a few years prior. 2 lovely kids, daughter and son. My wife met a new male colleague friend and started hanging out with him. At the start of that new friendship, she had an evening off, so did I, but she said she was going to get some coffee with, and I have always let her have her freedom. Never thought anything of her friendships, but this guy just felt there was something wrong. It must have been a good coffee that had to be freshly brewed, because she didn't come home till pretty late in the evening. I had felt it in my stomach. Something was wrong. When she came home, I asked her, "Did you cheat with him?" She was very calm and tried to assure me that she would never cheat on me. She loved me and wanted to grow old with me. We had kids, a house, she would never do anything like that. And somehow, I believed her. I had nothing but my gut feeling. And she told me he had a girlfriend, so I had nothing to worry about. I'm just seeing things. From then on, she didn't go to his house anymore, but invited him over our place. We played board games together, had meals together. He often watched our kids when I had an appointment with my wife. The longer time went on, the more often he was here. Because of Corona, our job changed to work from home only. We have a pool in our backyard. I would come downstairs from my home office and see him laying on my son in his swimming trunks, my wife next to him in her bikini, the kids playing in the pool. My wife didn't want to have sex with me anymore, blamed my stamina, blamed her headaches, said she was tired. But she did start shaving her private area all the time, which before she did only every now and then. When she came back from working longer than normal, she first went to shower before work but wear her matching underwear under her uniform when she had to start early. I buried my head in the sand for 1.5 years while that guy was working his way into our family. Until a bit over 3 weeks ago, my grandmother had died, and the day of the funeral, he was watching our kids. My family asked if we wanted to stay over drinks and dinner after the funeral, but my wife wanted to rush home. When we got home, she started drinking. And so did he. I had maybe 2 drinks in total that day, because I wanted to stay sober. When the kids went to bed, we went to sit in the backyard. At some point he asked my wife, "Let's go in the pool." So, my wife gets in her bikini, gets in the pool, and he said, "I don't have my swimming trunks with me," and went in the pool naked. This is when I woke up out of my 1.5 year emotional coma, and suddenly realized everything I had been blocking. I said, "It's time to go to bed." After which he asks, "Is this my cue to FCK off?" To which I responded, "Oh, should I FCK off instead so you can have alone time with my wife?" He left. My wife acted all surprised. I told her to go to bed, she was drunk, and we'd have a talk tomorrow. The day after is when I told her I want a divorce. She cried, I cried. I cried like never before. For the first time, I talked to my sisters, my brother and father about how the last 1.5 years have been for me, and all the things that had happened. I cried so many tears, I feel dried out. There have been much more red flags than I have mentioned here, but everyone I have told my story to are certain she cheated. Just today she said she was going to visit a female friend. But somewhere during her visit at her female friend, I receive an email from the motor gear shop that they have exchanged the male motorcycle pants using my company discount. So, she's been spending the entire day with him, lying to me that she is with a female friend. Of course, she didn't realize that every time my company discount is used, I receive an email. Well, we've been arranging everything with a mediator as soon as I could get in touch with the one I wanted. I'm in the process of arranging everything that needs to be arranged. Selling the house, finding a new place, making sure we get 50/50 co-parenting. And for the first time in a long time, probably even longer than the 1.5 years she has been cheating, I see a future for myself that contains more happiness and love. If you've gotten this far in my story, thanks for reading. D. She's not admitting she had an affair. I think she is scared I'll tell the children and that they might resent her because of it. I told her I won't tell the kids, but she's insisting she didn't cheat on me. She spends more time with him than with me enjoying the fun stuff in life. I already warned her about this when this all started. Even if she didn't physically cheat, she emotionally cheated out in the open. I feel like a cuck watching all this back. Whatever happens or happened, I'm not going to hurt the kids more than this is already hurting them. They are very understanding for kids their age. She is very cooperative with the divorce, agreeing to whatever our mediator says is the norm. For some reason, I don't even have to pay partner alimony, which I totally expected I had to. So, the divorce is going well so far. Hope we can continue this. I have to remain friendly through all of this. While I would love to scream, yell, shout whatever is in my head, I won't. I'll probably be hurt for some time, but it's worth it. I know I'm worth it. Thanks for the nice replies, I really appreciate it. Yours seems to be a no-tolerance stance and I respect your conviction. Before we got married, I made sure she was aware of this no-tolerance stance. We discussed that infidelity was immediate grounds for divorce. Your wife is going to move in the other man as soon as she can. She told me today that our financial advisor said she had possibilities to keep living in the house we both own at the moment. The house has increased a lot in value, which means she will have to buy the house from us and pay me half of the overvalue. Because she doesn't earn enough, I would have to donate $13.5K to her as a gift, but there would be an unregistered loan contract. Because as soon as that loan contract comes out, she will have committed fraud in getting the mortgage. So, I'm understanding here that she is so willing to keep living in our house, that she is willing to commit fraud for it. Now this kind of fraud isn't like the possible jail time fraud. But if it would come out, she'd have to pay a fine of $90K, lose her job and lose the house. I told her I'm open to the option, but I'd want to have witnesses present for such a contract to be signed, which she is totally okay with. I think it's weird that she is open to give such a power to me. To get back to your comment, she doesn't want to move in with the other man, as she wants to keep living here, but I'm sure she realizes that if he was going to live in my house, I have a contract that could ruin her. I did ask her that if I agree to this, I want to see the expenses she expects to have, just to make sure that the kids will have enough to live on, because I have always been paying the mortgage, energy and all the other monthly costs, while her income was used to pay for groceries, clothes, daycare for the kids and fun stuff. I'm not sure she can cover all the costs by herself. She said, sure, I think it's weird because I'm not asking you for this, to which I responded, I know, but you aren't getting a monthly payment from me. I'm getting a monthly payment from you, and I want to see before I agree to this what you can spend without leaving enough money for the kids. You may change your mind about telling your kids when they are older. That is very much a possibility. I have also told her that if she tells me the truth, I won't tell the kids. She should have read between the lines that this means that if I find out later that she lied, I will tell them the truth. But currently, the kids are 7 and 9 years old, and they need their mom as much as they need their dad. She is a bad wife, but a good mother. I don't want them to resent her because of this. Of course, that would satisfy my anger, but the kids would be worse off. So, if I ever tell them, it won't be before they are like 16 plus years of age. Reader comment, he is a predator. Original poster, this is the same conclusion I had when I woke up out of my emotional coma. I totally see he is, and I will tell you why. Like I said in my original post, he said to my wife he had a girlfriend. So about 8 months ago, there was a situation between him and his girlfriend, and this is what my wife told me. He hadn't seen his girlfriend for months. This girlfriend had a 4-year-old son but wasn't with her ex-husband anymore. He was going to live with her and with the 4-year-old. But at some point, the woman kept canceling meetings with him, and they hadn't seen each other for like 6 months. When he finally couldn't handle their time apart anymore, he went to her house. Apparently, she was still living with her husband. He was never an ex-husband, and she was 6 months pregnant from her husband. So, when he got to their house, she told him it was over and she was still with her husband. He told my wife he was unknowing having a relation with a woman who was still married, and she lied every time they were together. Now either the guy and my wife made up that story, just to spend time together, or, and I think this is more likely, he has always known he was the other guy, tried to break up that family and get himself in there, failed in his attempt to break up that marriage, and found a new marriage to break up and take over the family in my home. So, I'm thinking my wife is a victim of this guy's predatory behavior. But in all honesty, the fact that she let him and lied to me about so many things, I think she deserves him. If they end up together, it's not going to last. Because he is a predator, and she is a cheater. They deserve each other and they deserve the fallout of whatever is going to come from it. I have decided I am not going to warn her. As per the learned staff from here, STD checks, she cheated a lot. I haven't had sex with her from the moment he came into our lives. I also saw someone posting I should do a DNA check to see if I'm the father. I'm 100% sure I'm the father. My kids both look like me. My son is almost a complete duplicate of me at that age, both in looks and in intelligence. Stay strong, thank you so much. Reader comment, I'm sure sorry you find yourself here, but know you are warmly welcomed. I am impressed by your integrity and intolerance for infidelity. If only I had been as strong as you when I dealt with the activities of my ex-wayward wife. Good luck to you, sir. Thanks. Original poster, I feel welcome here. It's sad that it's under these circumstances. Nobody should have to go through this. But I really appreciate the warm welcome and comments. Reader comment, whether she admits to this being an affair or not isn't really the issue. Moving on. This isn't a court of law where you need irrefutable beyond doubt proof of guilt. All that is needed is that you are convinced. Based on what you share, nobody here can 100% tell you that they are cheating. Anybody that does so is assuming a whole lot. But I venture that nearly all, if not everyone, that reads your story thinks she is cheating. You have so many red flags and indicators that it's the logical deduction. You mentioned she's a cop, as I was ages ago. In the academy I learned this quote that goes something like, when you hear the beating of hooves you think horses, not zebras. It has two meanings as it was presented to us. The first one is that often the obvious and logical deduction is likely to be the correct one. I don't think you have zebras galloping around in Netherlands, so if you hear the beating of hooves in the distance, your logical deduction is that you will see a horse come round that corner. Based on what you share, we hear the beating of hooves, and we even might catch a whiff of horse tea. However, the other meaning of the quote is that maybe today is the day the local safari park lost a zebra and he's rounding the corner. Deductions are good, assumptions not so good. But I think it's clear that she's cheating, and it's only a slight question of how far it has gone. Emotional, physical, full sex. It's details rather than the real issue. Original poster, I agree, it's details. The facts are, she doesn't see me as a romantic partner anymore and doesn't give me intimacy. She shares more leisure time with another man. She meets with him and lies about it. I take trust very seriously. She has betrayed me. There is no more trust. I see no way future for us together without me being hurt all the time. So, the only logical conclusion is to separate. Reader comment, you two are separating. Great. That is definitely one of the two ways out of infidelity. However, I want to emphasize that separation, divorce, is the termination of a relationship rather than an alternative form of marriage. Once the paper is signed, you want the absolute minimum forced interaction with her. I'm guessing that due to the kids, that interaction will be based around co-parenting. I do hope you two become great co-parents, but that doesn't necessarily mean you need to have coffee and dinners and behave like best friends. In the strongest of words, I warn you 100% against any financial enshrinement. If she wants the home, she pays you what your share is worth. You do not finance it in any way. The idea of the loan is 100% insane and should be completely off the table. Remember, the divorce is because of trust issues and broken commitments. Why should an unofficial, semi-illegal loan hold up any better? What happens if she doesn't pay? Can you enforce payments through the legal system? What happens if she forfeits on the mortgage? Is your unofficial loan supported by a lien on the property? There are too many gaps, too much risk, and too much enshrinement. If she can't afford it and you don't want it, then sell and split the profit. If you want it, pay her the fair share. Do not own it together in some quasi-legal, non-enforceable way. You do not want to go pick up your kids to see that Om has moved in and that they are going to Spain for holiday, only a day after she tells you she can't start paying you the debt. Original poster, in the Netherlands, when people with kids divorce, they are required to create a parenting plan. This parenting plan has to be handed over to the judge by a lawyer. This parenting plan needs to say where the kids will be staying, which in our case will be 50/50 divided. Next it says what address the kids will be registered on. We agreed on the kids being registered on my wife's address. The sequences of this are that she will be responsible for the regular costs that are made for the children, like school, clothes, hobby. It also means she gets all the children benefits from the government. As the least earning partner, she will receive more than I would. But because she receives so much in child support from the government, she will have to pay me child support, so she will have a financial burden to me in any case. Giving a loan in my case is legal. A contract in my case would be legal, not semi-legal. The fact that she isn't declaring this when going into a mortgage is not my problem. If she doesn't pay me, she has all the risks. If she doesn't pay, I have every option of suing her. And if I would, she would have bigger problems. I'm not risking anything here. In all cases, I can get my money. It's also something I can spare, even if I lost that money. But my kids would be in the same home and close to their friends, which for me really is worth something. Reader comment: I share this POV from semi-personal experience. A close relative divorced his wife 4 years ago and asked for my advice regarding the division of assets. Part of the settlement was that he bought her share of their property with a cash payment. She wanted cash because she could hide it from taxes and some social benefits she was entitled to. Last year he sold the property and made a nice profit, only for the ex-wife to pop up with an attorney demanding her share of the profit. What she had forgotten was that I had the young man require she sign a contract stating the settlement had been paid in full. Yeah, I will also be having her sign a contract if this is the way we will go. I will also have witnesses present during the signing. A big upside of doing this means I can move out much faster and get my own place. I can easily afford a nice house and a second safe place for these kids. I really want to be away from her. Now I'm just biding my time. I am going to check into more debt, what kind of consequences such a loan could mean for me financially or legally. A good mother doesn't have an affair. A good mother certainly doesn't bring her boyfriend into the home, around her children. She doesn't have him babysit her kids. She doesn't cheat on their father right in front of him. She doesn't take time from her kids to spend with the boyfriend. She doesn't risk their father's life by potentially exposing him to STDs. She doesn't risk her children's family, their happiness, by having a boyfriend. She doesn't spend money on her boyfriend. A good mother sets a good example. She is a terrible mother. You have to know that they carried on in front of your kids when you weren't around. They probably are so confused at this point. As you said, they're smart kids. They already know. It's highly advised, typically, that you tell the kids the truth in an age-appropriate manner. She betrayed those kids every bit as much as she betrayed you. Don't lie to your kids, ever. Don't allow her behavior to turn you into someone your kids can't trust. Original comment: when you put it like that, I haven't even thought about that. The kids haven't asked questions about the reasons yet, but more about the consequences. So, I haven't lied to them. We told the kids we aren't in love anymore and that we don't want to live together. This is the truth. The problem here is that I don't have any tangible proof. If I'd tell the kids, they will ask their mother, who will just deny it. If they had actually seen them doing physical stuff, I'm pretty sure my daughter would have already told me. Of course, if they ask more questions, I can tell them that my reason is that she invests more time in another man than me. But that's about all I have. Reader comment: and about the children. Do not keep them in the dark. You can tell them in an age-appropriate way what is happening. Mommy has a boyfriend and doesn't want to be married to daddy anymore. No matter what their ages, it's a truth that needs to be said and will be remembered. What you do not want is to have your kids later tell a totally different version of her infidelity and blame you for the split. As long as she doesn't actively present him as her boyfriend and lie about who he is to her, what am I to do? It will be my word against her word. You let her have both ways for 1.5 years. Ideal conditions for her with a caring BH at home. No more. Now she faces the real situation. She knows the is a con, and most probably even if she chose to stay with him, it will be short-lived. As it says, many affairs end along with the marriage, and please stop crying in front of her who treated you so badly and expendably. Hold your head high and do your other things like the job even better. It is sexy to act productively in the face of adversity. Original poster: I have only cried the first 2 days, but after that, the tears were all dried up. I've been spending more time with family than I have in the last years. I've been working out more, spending time on my hobbies, doing some fixing in the house before the sale. She is seeing me a lot happier than she has in the past 1.5 years, and I'm sure she notices I'm looking forward to being without her soon. Thanks for your message. I take this to heart. Reader comment: sale to whom? Are you fixing up the house so your wife and her lover can enjoy the fruits of your labor? That makes no sense. Also, you need to be more specific with your kids. It's not that you don't love each other anymore. It's that your wife doesn't love you and prefers to be with someone else. That's the truth, and it's not fair to your kids to dance around it. You are actively lying to them to pretend that your separation is a result of anything at all you did or wanted. Original poster. Until this yesterday, we were going to sell the house and both live somewhere else. We had meetings with estate agents last week who pointed out a few things to fix to increase the sale value. So, I immediately started fixing those things. Yesterday our financial advisor let us know it might be possible for her to keep living here, but only under specific conditions. About the children, yeah, everybody here tells me that I have to tell them. I guess that is what I have to do. The reason she needs this to be an unregistered loan is she's a bad risk with her true numbers. That is, banks see her as a high probability of defaulting if the numbers be known. This is their business, and their math is usually skewed to allow people to borrow too much, not too little. I wouldn't dream of borrowing anywhere close to what banks are willing to lend me, as the monthly numbers would be bleak. Reader comment. Your STBX wants to borrow more. Your loan will be unsecured, which places you at the back of the line if her house of cards falls, or she gets hit by a bus. If you want to risk gifting her the equity, fine. But you have to go into this assuming you're not going to get that money back. I recommend in doing up on the other side of divorce, with the only business arrangements being court orders for the children. Why would you trust someone who's proven themselves to be untrustworthy? Original poster. Yeah, I think you are right. I think I'm being too lenient here. I want to get away from her as soon as possible, and this would make the process happen like 2-4 months sooner. Is that worth 13.5K is the question I have to ask myself. Reader comment. She's a police officer, huh? Okay, ask her to take a lie detector test to prove she hasn't had sex with the other guy. Original poster. The police in the Netherlands does not use the polygraph or any sort of lie detector, because we don't believe in that. It's all about the way questions are asked. But on the evening of the final event that made me decide I wanted out, I was acting like I was having fun until some part. I wanted to put an appointment in her calendar to remind her of something for tomorrow, as she was drunk, and she had her phone unlocked. When I grabbed the phone, the predator was all over me, and looking and saying, "What are you doing?" Not seriously, "What are you doing?" And my wife stood up, grabbed her phone and took it. Later that evening, I asked for her phone to look up something on the internet. She reluctantly unlocked her phone and gave it. I tried to open her Messenger app, and there was a secondary lock on there. That lock is something you have to set up very deep in the system. It's not something you are asked to do while setting it up. This gave me so much info. I had never in our married life checked her phone, ever. So, her locking away her chat history told me the last piece of info I needed. I confronted her about it during our divorce talk. At first, she said she had accidentally set that up while browsing the settings. When that didn't hold up, she said it was because she was suspicious of me going through her phone. When that didn't hold up, it changed to "you might misinterpret some stuff that has been said on there." When I asked her to let me see what I could have misinterpreted, if she wanted to rule out any suspicion, unlock the phone now and let me read it. Which she turned around with, "You think I have cheated anyway, so there is no point." Anyone who reads this or hears this knows what this means. It's not proof, but it looks, sounds, and feels much more like a horse than a zebra. Reader comment. You don't have to do anything that makes you uncomfortable. You're in the process of a divorce, and the bottom line is that making a point to tell the children that their mother is a cheater could be viewed by the court as parental alienation. You can't back up your claim in court because you can't prove definitively that an affair has taken place. And yeah, I agree, you've got a veritable stampede of horses going on. But still, there's no way to know what kind of fallout there would be at this juncture. It might be better to wait rather than take the chance that your family court judge is on her third marriage because they don't think cheating is all that bad. Waiting isn't lying. Right now, you only know what you know. As events unfold and as the children gain maturity, I do agree that it's best when the age-appropriate truth is made available so that they're not filling in on their own. Original poster. Thanks. You are the first that doesn't tell me to tell the kids right now. I would like to wait and see how stuff unfolds. The kids have seen him, of course, but I'm very sure they haven't seen them do anything. My kids tell me everything. They know I listen to everything they tell me, so they could never keep something like that a secret. Just today, I picked up my son from after-school daycare. He told me that when his mom brought him to school, she saw her father. I asked, "Your grandfather was at school?" Which would have been weird, because they live at least 1-5-hour drive away. And he said no, her father. I told him that her father is the one that lives on a farm. Did he see him? He said no, it was a grandfather type of man that I have never seen. But mom was very happy to see him. I asked though, "How did you know that?" And he said, "Well, they hugged." I didn't ask beyond that. It's probably someone she knows from that city where my son goes to school. She grew up there, and a lot of distant relatives we never saw live there. Even though my son is gifted, because of his autism he has a hard time remembering faces of people he doesn't see that often. But I'm telling this more to illustrate that my kids tell me everything they do, see and hear. So, if she brings a new guy into the house, they will tell me straight away. I also have a good relationship with my neighbors. I used to think they tolerated me because they liked my wife. But when I told them about everything that went down here, they already had their suspicions about him being here so often, and when they heard the whole story, they were flabbergasted. They said that if he were to move in here with her, they would not let him in their circle, and I would always be welcome even when I move away. I'm sure they will tell me when and how often he comes here. Reader comment. I second the other commenter in waiting to tell the kids until things are finalized. Also sell the house. It would always make your skin crawl even more to show up at your old house during swaps. Your house, your family, your pool, your dog, the only thing different is you are swapped out for him. A little selfishness is okay. Original poster, thanks, that helps. About selling the house, I have told her I'm not going to help her finance anything, especially something this dodgy. She gave me a weird look and said, well, I have other people I can ask to help me. To which I think she referred to him. Like this is one of the things I was also worried about. That when I give her that loan, that he will be the one paying it back. I mean, if she can finance it, and I'm not in any way responsible or financially connected to her anymore, there isn't much I can do against that. If I try to block that, it will turn into a vetch-chating, which is going to hurt the kids, cost me a lot of money, and she will probably get what she wanted anyway, with a risk of her turning the kids against me. She hasn't done anything like that yet, and I would like to keep it that way. If she buys the house, I don't have to pay for real estate agents, which cost way more than they should. I will end up with more if I don't have to sell it to someone else. It also means I can move out months earlier. I will buy a new house, have the kids design their own rooms, and make it a safe place they will love. Reader comment. Damn, did your wayward wife at least apologize to you for the way she treated you these past 18 months? This situation sucks. We are all pulling for you, yes, even though she never admitted to physically cheating. She realized that she did make me go through hell in the past 18 months and she did apologize for that. It's something. Thanks for your kind words. I appreciate it more than I can express with words. The truth is that their mother doesn't want to be a wife to their father and has consistently shown that she prefers to be with someone else. Dealing with the children is not about whether adultery can be proved in court. It's about being honest with them about what is going on in their family. If he waits until the divorce is final, the story that he just wanted out will already be part of their belief. Also, the fact that the financial advisor came up with a way for wife to remain in the house doesn't mean it is an appropriate way forward in this case. Original poster. We didn't tell the kids that I wanted to leave or that I wanted to live somewhere else. We told the kids that sometimes love between parents isn't unconditional, like the love we have for them, and that we have lost the love for each other. If ever my wife would tell stories to the kids, they will always come to me to verify. They always ask me and tell me everything because I'm more approachable. They also don't keep dangerous secrets. I have always taught them about the difference between fun secrets, damaging secrets, and dangerous secrets, and that grown-ups aren't allowed to ask children to keep a damaging or dangerous secret for them, and if someone ever did, they should tell me, because a grown-up asking children to keep secrets is up to no good. I taught them this in the case of predators. So, they even tell me when their grandparents let them stay up late, when they told them don't tell mom or dad. As we will have 50/50 co-parenting, the kids will be at my house as much as her house. They will have a great new place to live that I will completely fit to their liking. My daughter wants an anime wall in her room. My son wants a Minecraft wall in his. These are things I can do now. They enjoy thinking about their second place to live. The thing is, if I create the narrative now, and she opposes it, it will hurt the children. Big chance that she will only meet him in secret during the weeks that the kids are with me, just to avoid me knowing about it. It could be months, years before they announce their love to the kids. And by then it'll still be my word against hers, because then she can easily say they only connected long after the divorce. In what way would it help the kids or me to tell the kids now? I don't see any benefit. If she wants to be with him after the divorce, and it happens soon after, I will tell them, of course. But if she wants to be with him, I don't really care anymore. I have emotionally checked out the moment I suspected her of cheating. Even though I have blocked myself emotionally from the situation, after the word was out, it helped me a lot that I wasn't bound to her anymore. I feel like I can let go. I'm getting the kids at least half of the time. I'm getting my share of the house, and in the end, I'm financially better off. Reader comment. Right now, I think it's enough just keeping your head down and getting out as clean as possible in the divorce while being the best dad you can be. That's a pretty tall order all on its own. Original poster. Thanks, this is what I'm striving for. Story 2. I'm new here. Having a bad day as one can imagine. I'm going to try to resist the urge to write an entire novel here. But my wife and I have been married 10 years. We are in our mid-30s. I've always been devoted and faithful to her. But recently I noticed her drifting away, starting to focus on wanting to be young again and go back to the dating world. It seems there wasn't anything I can do to stop this chain of events, but one of her complaints regarding me was excessive work, no work-life balance, and also lack of libido on my part. While libido was average statistically and I'm not badly out of shape, I could be in better shape, and stress, lack of fitness does affect our sex life. Plus, she is a very sexual person. So, I decided to scale my business way back, get rid of the stress and be there for her in an effort to rekindle our relationship. I put a great deal of effort into getting the house back up to shape, going on date nights, going to the park, plus have been working out, lost weight and really increased the libido to nearly early 20 level. She seemed to enjoy that, but perhaps too little too late, as she suddenly blocked me on all social media, and changed the passwords to her accounts and phone. I am not a heavy social media user, so I did not notice immediately, but after some digging, I realized she was having an emotional affair with some 19-year-old kid from another country, and didn't want him to realize she is married. I discussed it with her. She admitted she was struggling and considering a separation, but after a week or so she decided it was a fantasy, and she wants to make our relationship work. She insisted I was her number one, that she chooses me and wants to work on this together. I was still sad that she was so into this kid, but was happy to hear her choice. However, despite the fact she said she'd appear to end it with this guy, she still blocked me out of her online life and did nothing to rectify that, so I remained suspicious. She ended up having to go on a work trip to the country where that guy lives. However, I said given the circumstances, she should call in sick or try to get out it. She claimed she could not, but said this was her last trip there and she would bid off that area. She was emphatic in her promises that wouldn't damage our relationship by taking the emotional affair to a physical level, and that she had already ended it with him and loved me. She sent me some texts about the food and such to make it seem normal, but unfortunately that was a lie. I used a voice recorder, and as soon as she arrived in the hotel, she had that guy come up and they had sex for hours. He spent the night. Most gut-wrenching moment of my life. I got to experience the audio firsthand. I'm torn between an ignorance is bliss and the need to confront reality mentality, but here we are. I confronted her and informed that I want a divorce. She initially lied but admitted it, saying she made a mistake, and we shouldn't throw away our entire marriage because of one mistake. She went on the whole usual copy paste torrent of words. It meant nothing, that guy means nothing. I was confused, but now I'm not. Now I know I just want you. I was wondering what an open relationship would be like. She even was saying one slip up in 14 years is not abnormal and she allows or would forgive me if I was on the other side. She was basically grabbing my legs, feet, shirt, trying to keep me from walking out the door. She then even drove 4 hours to bring me food and apologize at my place of business. But the things she said to the other person in the recent drive to visit me, if she had put any effort like that into me, work-life balance wouldn't be an issue. Of course, she says now she knows where her priorities are. It was a mistake. But I feel like this isn't a mistake, because she was reaffirming the desire to work on the relationship, that she promised not to do anything etc. prior to the event. This was pre-planned, not a random drunken accident. Because of the lip service, I basically feel like she was telling me this whole time I'm going to go have my fun plowing this teenager. Then when I'm done, I'll come back to my faithful comfort zone and you're going to just deal with it. Plus, I obtained photos of the guy in question. He's basically a player club rat, the exact opposite of me. I'm just 100% soul crushed. I wonder the usual, can I ever trust her again? How can we repair this etc. It's extra bad in my situation because I've given her all my time, energy, and have literally not a single friend or acquaintance in 1,000 miles. It's not good. I'm really struggling on if I should divorce her or not. This is not the first time I've suspected anything, but it's the first time I've obtained proof. Forgiving her would be the easy way out, but since lies come off her tongue so effortlessly, I just have trouble even accepting her apologies and that it was a mistake, regardless of how genuine they seem. Comment, welcome to the place no one wants to be. She did not make a mistake. She chose to see this guy. She even lied about it at first. Had she not been caught, you would not have known, and the affair would have most likely continued. So, she went back on her word of letting him go, and she lied about seeing him. She said she loved him. She then says her head is clear and now she is choosing you. Actually, she chose him, and you are the plan B. You should not be anyone's plan B except right now you are hers, and you will have to decide if being the second choice will be good enough for you. Original poster, this is exactly how I feel. And I think it will be hard to R because of this, and the fact that she pretty much would ignore my request to stop as well as that from everyone around her. She was committed to her plan, and probably thinks I do not have the stones to leave her. That remains to be seen, but I'm leaning towards it. Not just concerned about the trip. Directly asked her to stop this madness and save our marriage if that's what she wants. Or, if not, then let me know with dignity. When I found out about this, I considered leaving her for the emotional part and played it out in my mind. But I am finding it exponentially more difficult than I had anticipated. Even now. We have no children. I've spoken to a lawyer and have my ducks in a row, but pulling the trigger is harder than I thought. I can safely say I both love and hate her at the same time. Wonder if I should play it out and do nothing until my mind clears a bit, see a counselor or something, or just push forward. How have others managed? Direct. Well said. Okay. Thank you, everyone, so much for the time put into reading my story and providing thoughtful, helpful input. I read each and every one of them, a lot to think about. I will follow up with answer to questions and my thoughts as soon as possible. This community is really amazing. Someday, once this is all in my past and I'm wiser for it, I will pay it forward for sure with the experience gained.